Hiya Peter, lovely to meet you yesterday and start working on your game within the stack and tilt swing pattern. We obviously covered a lot of points for the 2-hour session. There was a lot of questions asked and a lot of questions answered. I sent you some stills across yesterday via the email just to follow up one or two of the points that we made in regards to your setup. Initially we've got to get these hands out a little bit more. They are in a better position here, but they could do with being a little bit more, as we see there. Just give yourself a little bit more room at setup, allowing you to get the arms to work in a little bit easier as opposed to rolling the club independently as we were seeing during your session. Having said that, stance at the end was a little bit wider and the distance from the ball had improved a little bit. If I just take you down and put in your setup here, you can see there now a little bit better setup position. I'd still like to see you a little bit further away than what we're seeing there on the right hand side, but it is a much better setup in relation to the width of stance and the position of your arms than what we saw at the start of your session. The big problem in your swing is how much rotation of the club face you have during the takeaway. So really you can see there that the club face is rotating dramatically on the way back. Very open position there, very toe up and rolled under plane. And that just continues to the top of your swing. You can see the very, very open club face position at the top. And if you were to swing down from there now in the correct manner, moving the hips forward, keeping the hands quiet, you just hit the ball somewhere over here. So what you've got to do now in the downswing is make a lot of compensations. You can see that right arm straightening very quickly, trying to close that club face down. And unfortunately on that one you did a little bit too much. If you time it just right, you'll get a nice shot, but overall that's not a great way to release the angles during the downswing. You can see there's a lot of rotation in there and a lot of firing of the arms, largely due to this position here. Club face rotates open dramatically from setup to waist level, and from there you're pretty much dead in the water in regards to making the correct downswing. So from an improved setup, what we suggested we do is do the exact opposite. Instead of rolling the club face over and opening it up, what we're going to try and do is work the club face under a little bit more and feel like it's a little bit more hooded early in your takeaway. So we're going to work the butt of the club down and bowl the left wrist so we get the club in an opposite position to what we would normally get. And then from there we want to try and keep the bow in the left wrist. So our goal is to maintain a flatter left wrist position from here. So we've now got left arm and left wrist in a more bold position, club face square to the arc of the swing, as opposed to left arm, left wrist tucked and club face very open to the arc of the swing. Now one of the things that you did find difficult was to go from that improved takeaway to the top of the backswing. You can see as you get here now at about sort of just approaching chest height, the need is to sort of rotate the club open and just go looking for that position that you've always had. And you can see there that cupping in the wrist starting to creep back in just at the top here. So during your session you definitely improved your takeaway and you got the idea. You can see there you rehearsed that beautifully in this one. Now what we've got to do is maintain that during the backswing. There's a little bit too much rotation there on the way back, but having said that excuse me, if we look at the change, because that's the key thing here, even though it isn't the finished article, changes have started to take place. Club face here very much straight down, club face here on a little bit of an angle. So we're starting to get that club a little bit more closed at the top, a little bit more neutral at the top. We're heading in the right direction. If we just play back a little bit, there now, compared to that position. I mean, here we're looking directly down the back of the golf club, whereas here we can see the grooves on the club face. So the angle of the club face in these two swings has changed dramatically up to about chest height. Then there's been a slight change at the top. But then there's still that want to close the club face down dramatically on the way down. You can see that. So that downswing move that you make is still based around the swing that you can see on the left hand side. So as the takeaway changes and the top of the backswing changes, there's going to be less of a need to release and expand that right arm quickly like you see there, and more of a need to move the hips in a linear manner and keep the handle of the club leading as per what you have been reading and seen on YouTube when looking at the stack and tilt swing pattern. But you can't do that without improving that takeaway. So an improved setup is required. Get a little bit further away from it. Feel like the hands are out in front of the shoulders. Get wider so that you feel like your right foot is outside your right shoulder. And then from there work that club under, as we see here. I'll put some line on there for you so you can see this back on the takeaway. So that the club works on the shaft plane and stays nice and square to the arc of your swing during the takeaway. As you can see from there now, club square to the arc of the swing. And we want to try and keep it square to the arc of the swing on the way back. And we just rotate it open a little bit more than what will be desired. But overall, an improved position at the top, less open and less laid off. But there's some work to be done. Once you establish that position there, try and maintain that feeling right to the top of your backswing. As I said before, if you do feel the need to fire any questions across, feel free to do so. You've got my phone number and you've got my email address. I'd love to hear from you, get some feedback. If you want to send a little bit of footage over via video, you can do that also. Enjoy the process. I look forward to working with you again in the coming year. Well done.